What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Arman Tsarukyan made a massive statement with his recent UFC victory, and the conversation now shifts to what comes next for the rising lightweight contender. Ilia Topuria has repeatedly dismissed the idea of fighting Tsarukyan, but after UFC Qatar, it's becoming increasingly difficult for him to ignore the surging Armenian-Russian star. Tsarukyan extended his winning streak to 5 in dominant fashion, submitting Dan Hooker with an arm triangle choke after pressuring him early with powerful strikes and relentless takedown attempts. Throughout the fight, Tsarukyan controlled the pace, pushed Hooker to the fence, and outclassed him in the grappling exchanges. Once he secured the final transition, he smoothly locked in the choke, forcing the tap and solidifying his status as one of the most dangerous contenders in the division. In his post-fight interview, Tsarukyan wasted no time calling out Topuria once again, confidently declaring that he would be ready to step in as early as January. His message to the UFC was clear. He wants the title shot, and he believes he has earned it. The real question now is whether the UFC will make the fight happen. With Tsarukyan's momentum, his growing fan support, and a dominant performance that showcased both his technical skill and championship potential, the pressure is building on the UFC to consider this matchup seriously. Topuria may continue to deflect, but after this win, Tsarukyan's name will remain firmly in the title conversation. His performance has ensured that ignoring him won't be easy, not for the fans, the division, or Ilia Topuria himself. Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. If you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, it would mean a lot to us. That way you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Khamzat Chimaev voiced strong support for Arman Tsarukyan following his explosive UFC performance, making it clear that he believes Tsarukyan is ready for a championship opportunity. Speaking in a backstage interview, Khamzat praised Arman's dominance, calling his performance crazy, and insisting that it was only a matter of time before the fight came to an end. According to Khamzat, he expected Arman to finish the fight and was simply waiting for the moment. He emphasized that Tsarukyan's work ethic, pressure, and composure inside the octagon set him apart from the rest of the division. Chimaev didn't hold back his admiration, calling Arman the best, and even referring to him as a true champion. He went on to say that Tsarukyan is one of the best fighters in the world right now and deserves nothing less than a title shot. In Khamzat's view, Arman has already proven himself against top-tier competition and should not have to fight anyone else before being granted a championship opportunity. His message was clear. Tsarukyan has done enough, shown enough, and earned his chance at UFC Gold. Move on to another news. What's next for Machado Garry following his latest UFC win? Although Garry didn't secure the explosive finish he predicted against Belal Muhammad, he still earned a clear and convincing victory over the former welterweight title holder, continuing his steady rise through the rankings. From the opening bell, Garry established his rhythm with sharp jabs and precise kicks, quickly causing damage and leaving Muhammad bloodied early in the fight. There was a brief scare when Belal suffered an eye poke, but the bout continued without major issue. Muhammad tried to shift the momentum with heavy right hands and frequent wrestling attempts, yet Garry's takedown defense remained solid throughout. On the feet, the Irishman consistently outstruck Belal, controlling distance, tempo, and accuracy in nearly every exchange. After 3 dominant rounds, the judges had little doubt. Garry walked away with a unanimous decision win. With his confidence high, he immediately used his post-fight interview to call out the new welterweight champion, Islam Makhachev, arguing that his win over Belal proves his ready for a title opportunity. During the post-fight press conference, Garry went a step further, announcing that he plans to travel to Georgia to prepare specifically for Makhachev's elite wrestling and judo. He praised Georgia's world-class grappling culture and openly asked for help from any southpaw wrestlers or specialists who could replicate Islam's style. Garry expressed full commitment to building the perfect training camp, eager to test himself against one of the most dominant champions in MMA. His message to Georgian fighters was enthusiastic. He intends to train with them, learn from them, and assemble the right team to match Makhachev's skill set. Garry closed by thanking the Georgian fans and athletes, emphasizing how strategic networking and smart preparation are essential after a big win. Move on to another news. Machado Garry added another layer to his post-fight ambitions by revealing that he plans to train with Ilia Topuria while preparing for a potential showdown with Islam Makhachev. Garry explained that during his upcoming visit to Georgia, he intends to work closely with Topuria and the fighters at the WOW gym, believing their style style and training environment will be crucial in helping him shut down Islam's elite grappling. Garry said he has already spoken with Topuria and expressed interest in returning to Madrid as well. He believes that combining the skills of Georgian wrestlers, Spanish training partners, and his own evolving game will give him the tools needed to stop the dominance of Russian and Dagestani fighters. According to Garry, this collaboration would help him neutralize Makhachev's takedowns and ultimately take his head clean off his shoulders. However, whether the UFC moves forward with Garry as the next title challenger is far from guaranteed. Garry is still not too far removed from his loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov, and several contenders have made strong cases for themselves. One of them is the undefeated Michael Morales, who is coming off a stunning stoppage victory over Sean Brady. Morales has built a reputation as a finishing machine, ending his last 3 fights inside the distance, while Garry has gone to the judges' scorecards in his last 5 wins. Much of the decision could come down to what Islam Makhachev wants next, and whether the highly anticipated super fight with Ilia Topuria becomes a reality. There is also the question of Kamaru Usman's position. After Makhachev ended Jack Della Madalena's title reign, he stated that Usman is the most deserving of a shot at the belt. Usman, currently ranked 8th, recently snapped a losing streak with a decision victory over Joaquin Buckley in June. With multiple contenders making strong cases and several moving pieces in the division, Garry's path to a title fight remains uncertain. His confidence and preparation plans, however, indicate that he is fully committed to chasing UFC gold, whether the opportunity comes immediately or he must continue proving himself. Move on to another news. During the UFC Qatar post-fight press conference, Arman Tsarukyan didn't hold back when discussing Ilia Topuria. He stated that if Topuria truly intends to vacate the title rather than face him, then he should hand over the belt and let Arman take on anyone in the division. Tsarukyan emphasized that he's not looking for easy matchups and is willing to fight any contender the UFC puts in front of him. According to Arman, the UFC already knows he accepts every challenge, while Topuria continues to avoid mentioning his name. In Tsarukyan's view, he is the true #1 contender and the real fighter in the division. Immediately after the press conference, Arman took to Twitter to reinforce his message. He once again called out Ilia Topuria, while also showing respect to Dan Hooker for accepting the fight. In his post, Tsarukyan wrote, "Me versus Ilia is the best fight to make across any division. No more running El Pato. Respect to Dan Hooker for taking the fight. He has bigger balls than the champ of the division." The tweet quickly gained attention, further fueling the growing tension between the 2 contenders. From a merit-based standpoint, there is little debate that Arman deserves the next title shot. He entered Fight Week ranked #1 and is expected to maintain that position once the rankings are updated. His recent performances, including his dominant win over Hooker, have only strengthened his case. With Tsarukyan's momentum, his public challenge, and the support of fans who believe he has earned the opportunity, the pressure now shifts to the UFC and to Ilia Topuria. Whether the fight is made next or delayed due to other promotional plans, Arman has made it clear that he is ready, willing, and deserving of a championship bout. Move on to another news. A matchup that could generate massive ticket sales and draw significant viewership is a potential fight between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria, often referred to jokingly as the hand sanitizer boy rival. This is a fight Topuria has repeatedly called for due to their history, their contrasting personalities, and the marketability of the matchup. It also appears that once again, Ilia is steering away from a fight with Arman Tsarukyan, largely due to Arman's late withdrawal from UFC 311 back in January. Many fans will recall that during that time, Ilia openly roasted Arman, claiming he would have fought even with a missing limb. However, the criticism surrounding Paddy Pimblett's status as a contender remains. He is not coming off a win against a top 10 opponent. While his victory over Michael Chandler was certainly memorable, very few would argue that the 39-year-old Chandler is still operating at his prime. Paddy remains a massive fan favorite, but his ranking and recent resume do not match the level of competition that Tsarukyan has been facing. Given Arman's dominant performance this past weekend and his position near the top of the division, it raises the question, would the UFC really overlook him and move ahead with a Paddy versus Ilia matchup instead? It's not impossible. The UFC has a history of prioritizing fights that deliver star power and entertainment value, and a heated rivalry like Paddy versus Topuria would undoubtedly attract attention. Still, From a competitive standpoint, Arman stands as the rightful contender. The decision now hinges on the UFC's promotional direction, whether they value rankings and merit, or whether they will lean toward a rivalry-driven fight that promises big numbers. The coming weeks will reveal whether the organization chooses the path of sporting legitimacy or the route of blockbuster entertainment. Move on to another news. As discussion around Ian Machado Garry continues, another major moment from UFC Qatar has come to light, involving his backstage altercation with Khamzat Chimaev. Following his victory over Belal Muhammad, Garry was making his way through the backstage area when he crossed paths with both Arman Tsarukyan and Khamzat. While Ian appeared friendly, telling Khamzat that he respected him and knew they weren't going to fight, Chimaev stared him down intensely, almost like a predator ready to pounce. When Ian approached to ask why he was being so aggressive, Khamzat suddenly shoved him. The brief confrontation quickly caught attention online, raising questions about what sparked the moment. Chimaev later addressed the incident during the press conference while Tsarukyan was speaking. He claimed Ian had been slapping him on the back too hard and acting disrespectfully. According to Khamzat, if someone wants to show respect, they should do so properly, not by striking him repeatedly. He also suggested that Garry was trying to create hype and mimic Conor McGregor, but insisted he would never reach that level. Ian Garry provided his version of the encounter afterward. He said he had congratulated Tsarukyan on his win and then politely asked Khamzat when he planned to return to action. Chimaev responded casually, even slapping Ian on the back. Moments later, however, Khamzat's mood changed, and he shoved Garry with what Ian described as childish energy. Garry emphasized that Khamzat's behavior was disrespectful, not only to him, but also to Tsarukyan, whose victory should have been the focus. Before leaving, Ian added a final remark, "I'll get him one day," hinting at a potential rivalry. Realistically, a fight between them is unlikely in the near future. Ian competes at welterweight and is climbing toward a title shot, while Khamzat is the reigning middleweight champion and shows no desire to cut weight to 170 again. If their paths ever do cross competitively, it would likely be far down the line. But the backstage tension has already planted the seed for a storyline fans won't forget anytime soon. Move on to another news. Conor McGregor is once again making headlines, but not because of an upcoming fight. Instead, the Irish superstar is now taking legal action against Sky News for alleged defamation, following his highly publicized civil court case, where he was found liable in connection to an alleged 2018 incident. McGregor's legal team has been granted permission to serve legal papers to the network. According to new reports, McGregor's attorneys claim that outside a courthouse on November 22, 2024, a Sky News reporter allegedly directed a defamatory remark toward McGregor during a media scrum. The MMA Fighting Report states that the interaction involved the reporter approaching McGregor and saying, "Excuse me, Mr. McGregor, you are a LAG. Have you any reaction or apology to the woman at the center of this?" McGregor's team argues that this statement constitutes direct defamation during an official press gathering. This new legal development comes shortly after McGregor's appeal in the earlier civil case was denied, further intensifying public attention on the situation. Despite the ongoing legal challenges, McGregor, now 37th, continues pushing for his MMA return. His goal is a high-profile fight on the UFC's anticipated White House event next year, and he has repeatedly expressed his desire to compete as soon as possible. Meanwhile, concerns surrounding fellow fighter Nick Diaz have also been rising, adding another layer of uncertainty within the MMA world. Between the legal battles, media controversy, and fight ambitions, McGregor's name remains firmly in the spotlight, just not for the reasons fans had hoped. Move on to another news. Ilia Topuria has fired back with force, releasing new footage involving Arman Tsarukyan after days of escalating tension. As reported earlier, Tsarukyan has repeatedly called out Topuria in his post-fight interviews following UFC Qatar, taking verbal shots and pushing for a confrontation. This morning, Topuria responded directly by sharing a video of an encounter between the two in Qatar, footage that immediately ignited social media. In the clip, Ilia Topuria can be seen lightly slapping Arman Tsarukyan during a brief run-in. Along with the footage, Topuria posted a message criticizing Arman for staying silent in person while acting bold online. He wrote, "Arman, every time we see each other in person, you freeze like a scared duck, with no idea what to do. You know I handle you however I want. I fight whoever the UFC chooses. And remember, I slapped you and you just laughed. Then you go around acting like a gangster. Keep going. You're on the right path. Just a few levels below me, kid. Topuria's direct and dismissive tone instantly caught the attention of the MMA world. But Arman Tsarukyan didn't stay quiet for long. He quickly responded on X with a sharp counter of his own, downplaying the incident and questioning Topuria's toughness. Arman wrote, "Bro, you touched my neck like we were taking a family photo, and now you're calling it a slap online? The clip is clear. Your insecurities are even clearer. I don't need to act tough for Twitter. My work is inside the cage. If you want to know what a real slap feels like, I'll be happy to educate you. See you soon, LP to educate." The back and forth has only added fuel to the growing rivalry between the two. With both fighters exchanging jabs outside the cage, fans are now wondering whether this confrontation will eventually lead to an official matchup. One thing is certain, the tension between Topuria and Tsarukyan is far from over.